G'day, I'm Paul. Toyota Corolla Cross, we reviewed it a little while back and the review went crazy, so we thought, let's get another one in, but this time let's go to the lower end. This is the entry-level model. It's called the Corolla Cross GX. This is the petrol two-wheel drive. We've got matching white, which makes it impossible to video. But anyway, this is priced at $33,000. It competes with things like the Hyundai Kona, the Honda HR-V, the Nissan Qashqai. It is like a jacked up version of the Corolla. Today we're going to do a detailed review of this car, so if you do want to skip ahead to other parts of the review, you can use the time codes on the screen, or if you're on YouTube, you can scroll down and use the chapters below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon so you can find out every single time we review a very white car. Let's talk exterior designs. Here you have 8 colors to pick from, all but white and green is going to set you back just under $700. Look, I think that probably white isn't the best color here, especially on the base model, because it kind of shows up the fact that it is the base model. But in just general design terms, you've got a big grille there, and have a look at how much of that is closed up. It's like most of that is closed, which is just crazy. It shows you how little cooling they need and how much the grille is there just for display purposes. Big Toyota logo there as well, and a little bit more cooling down the bottom. Over here, you've got a set of LED headlights with halogen daytime running lights, no fog lights down there either. I'll whip around to the side. Around here, you're going to find yourself a set of 17-inch alloy wheels, pretty basic design, so it's just got that silver finish on it. Big chubby tyres as well, 60 profile, so it should mean that it actually rides really nicely. This is front-wheel drive here in base specs, so you're not going to be doing any off-road driving, but doesn't stop them from fitting that wheel arch cladding there to make it look like it's an off-road warrior. Up the top here, you have body colour on the wing mirror with an indicator built into there. This only has a reverse camera, so you don't get puddle lamps or a 360 camera built into there. That black plastic finish continues down the side of the car there. Come around to the back. So around the back here, pretty sort of basic setup. You don't really have much going on there in terms of fanciness, a lot of incandescent globes, but you do get this little aero element off to the side here. More of that black plastic cladding that runs down the back of the car there with body colour at the bottom. Corolla Cross written in here as well. No badges to signify it's the base model, so they kind of remove that from there, so you can't really tell this is the entry level. Shark fin aerial up the top there as well. So let me know what you reckon in the comments section below. I think probably one up from the base model is where you want to be if you don't want it to look as sort of entry level as this, but I know that some of you will be buying on price and perhaps this is something that you are considering. So let me know what you reckon about the design in the comments section below. So we're inside the Corolla Cross. We will start off with the key. You've got lock, unlock, panic, the Toyota logo down there, and then blank on the back. It's a proximity sensing key, so you can leave that in your pocket. Once you're inside, you have a push button start just here. So this feels very much like an entry-level vehicle and kind of solidifies my opinion that this is probably going to be a bit of a rental special, especially with this plastic steering wheel here. One thing I will point out is that the next step up from the GX is probably going to be the sweet spot if you are going to be driving this as a daily. But if you're not, I guess this is going to be okay for some people, but it is sort of pretty barren here in terms of design. In terms of your touch points, so pretty sort of scratchy up the top there. That is softer as you work your way down. This sort of cloth material here is soft enough as well, and it's soft on the door too. And how soft are those surfaces? Well, we've got our gyrometer. We've tested the main surfaces in this cabin. If you want to see how this car compares to others that we've tested before, have a look at the link in the description below. Now, build quality. A little wonky there in the center. Rest of this feels okay. Door test. Sounds pretty solid. Moving on to infotainment. So, you have a couple of different versions of the infotainment system here in Corolla Cross, and the entry level gets the smallest, which is an 8-inch display. Thankfully though, it's not the old Toyota 8-inch display. It's still a version of the new infotainment system, but just obviously much smaller. You also get, which I thought was pretty impressive, basically an LCD display ahead of the driver too, which isn't something I was expecting to see here on the base model. So inbuilt satellite navigation, that all seems to work pretty well. In terms of audio, you have AM, FM, DAB, digital radio, and that's all plumbed through a 6-speaker sound system. There's no branding on the sound system. It's all just sort of generic branding. In terms of smartphone connectivity, you have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Apple CarPlay is wireless, Android Auto is wired. I'll show you what Apple CarPlay looks like. So full screen integration, nice and quick and snappy as well. So pretty impressed with that. And this is what Android Auto looks like. So same story again, full screen integration, very quick as well. I'll quickly show you the screen ahead of the driver here. So pretty straightforward. You've got a tacho there. You can change the display in terms of what appears there ahead of the driver, but it's all sort of pretty straightforward. It's just nice to see a digital display there instead of just analog gauges. What about your safety? You have autonomous emergency braking with pedestrian and cyclist detection. You have a lane departure warning with a lane keeping assistant. Right, our cruise control. You have a blind spot monitor built into the wing mirror. You've got rear cross traffic alert. On the parking front, you don't actually have any parking sensors at all. You just have a reverse view camera. I'll show you what that looks like. Put that into reverse. Sorry about the annoying beeping. So it's actually not a bad camera. I can clearly see what's on the suitcase there. You can also see what's happening around the car. So yeah, that's fine, no dramas. Now our horn test, here we go. Very cute sounding horn. Moving on to practicality, and we'll start off with your connectivity. You've got one USB-A port down the front here. If you don't have wireless Apple CarPlay, you're going to be hooking up to that for Android Auto, which means it'll be out of action for anyone else wanting to charge. No wireless phone charging, but you do have a secondary USB-C port in here, along with a 12-volt outlet as well. In terms of storing your phone, kind of have plenty of spaces. You can stick it there in the cup holder. You can pop it down the front there as well if you want. Bottle and coffee cup storage. Coffee cup nicely fits into there, and on the bottle front, bottle fits into there as well, but there's no teeth, so it kind of moves around a little bit. Fits inside the door without any problems. Try our big bottle. You kind of have to cram it in there a little bit for it to fit in. On other storage, you've got a center console here. It's actually not badly sized. I thought it was going to be way smaller than it was. A glove box down here, which is pretty reasonably sized. And finally, up the top here, where you would typically have a sunglasses holder, you actually have the switchgear for the Toyota connected services. So you push and hold that for it to go into emergency mode, so you can actually get connected to someone. You can also then connect to the car with your phone app as well. So it's pretty cool to see that that stuff is standard here on the entry-level model. Now, what about your comfort? So you've got automatic climate control up the front here, just a single zone, sort of nothing too groundbreaking there. Then on the seats, they're actually really comfortable. So it is a fabric material, but you can see here it's got a bit of a design to it. It looks kind of fancy. Yeah, fully manually adjustable. The only electronic part is the bolster adjustment that you can go forwards, backwards with. Steering offers both tilt and reach adjustment. And on our reach test, all of this stuff is easy to reach while you're driving. Second row of the Corolla Cross. Yeah, look, room is pretty cramped back here. I thought it was going to be a whole lot more spacious, but yeah, knees are kind of in the seat there. Plenty of toe room though, and headroom is really good. Map pocket in the back there on the passenger side. Air vents as well, but no USB charging. There's also no center armrest as well. You can't tip that down. You do get 2 ISOFIX points though, and also top tether points as well, which is good. Cup holder is nice and high, so you can pop your bottle in there, but yeah, not good for coffee and stuff because it just moves around a whole stack. And on our window test, oh, auto up and down, very nice. Huh, look at that, goes all the way down as well. Very impressive. So cargo space, let's have a little look, see. It's actually not bad. You've got a little over 400 litres of cargo space, storage under the floor there with a temporary space saver spare tyre. A little bit of storage off to the sides as well. So bags, let's have a look. Laptop can get into that little corner. And our big suitcase fits in as well, which is pretty cool. And then if you do want a little bit more space, what you can do is drop the second row out of the way. And that kind of gives you very much an elevated load floor. All right, we've hit the road in the Corolla Cross. So very different driving experience to the last Corolla Cross we drove, which was the hybrid. This is powered by just a 2-litre naturally aspirated petrol engine. It's mated to a continuously variable transmission. It produces 126 kilowatts of power and 202 newton meters of torque, so it's teeny tiny. What does all that feel like behind the wheel? So it does make a fair old racket once you do get stuck into it, but It's surprisingly responsive and it's surprisingly quick feeling as well. And the reason for that is that this weighs barely anything. So because you don't have to have all the hybrid components adding weight to the vehicle, you strip it all back and it means that you get the bigger fuel tank in this, although it does use more fuel, you get the bigger fuel tank, and it also means that it does feel a little bit more agile and responsive thanks to the shed back weight. So from that point of view, it's good, but you do pay the cost of having a bit of thrashiness there when you do get stuck into it, because it is having to work hard to replace that acceleration gap that you miss out on by not having hybrid components. Now, in saying that as well, this isn't like Honda, for example, that charges significantly more for their hybrid variants. Toyota only charges something like $2,500 extra for the hybrid version of this, even in two-wheel drive trim. So unless you're specifically against the hybrid, I think it is worth stepping up to that and paying that little bit extra, because it does give you that extra refinement and the better fuel economy as well. Now, speaking of fuel economy, 6 litres per 100 Ks is the official number. We're currently sitting on 8.3. So it is higher than that claim, a fair bit higher actually. So we have been doing a little bit of faster driving here for photography this morning, but I still think it's probably on the higher side for a vehicle this size, and you do gain significantly more in terms of fuel economy if you do step up to the hybrid instead. Let's talk about the ride. Again, those big profile tyres mean this rides really nicely. They take a lot of the brunt before the suspension has to do anything. And as a result of that, in and around the city, it's nice and easy going and relaxing. There really isn't anything too much to stress about in terms of the ride quality. All right, let's pump this up to 130 for our sine waves. So the sine waves mimic overtaking in Australia. It's also the maximum speed you can do in Australia, 130. So see what that feels like. So there's 130 there. Wow, it is pretty bouncy. So yeah, because the suspension has been softened up for city driving, you do pay the costs there in terms of body control at higher speeds. It does feel a little unsettled as you do hit those consecutive bumps. So we don't have any drive modes here to choose from, but we'll go for a little punt around the track and see what it feels like. In terms of the handling, I was pretty impressed with the all-wheel drive hybrid version, so I'll see if this is any good. Well, fair bit of body roll. Tyres don't have a great deal of traction either. Steering feels okay. Yeah. It's nothing amazing. I think you lose a lot with this tyre selection, so yeah. Don't go buying this if you want an extremely sporty ride. Time to do our 0 to 100 runs. So, Toyota claims a time of 9 seconds. I'm going to try to get up to 120 here so we can see what this is like for overtakes as well. So, turn traction control off just in case. Here we go. And 120. All right, come to a stop. Let's see how it went. Bang on 9 seconds for 0 to 100, and then 80 to 120 was 6.3 seconds. So not too bad. This thing has the punch that it needs in that mid-range. Like it's, yeah, it is surprisingly good for a naturally aspirated petrol with CVT. The test you all love so much, our reverse speed test. Let's see how it goes. Here we go. Now, actually, I'll turn stability control off because it was quicker in the Hilux with stability control off. So let's see what happens. Here we go. Oh, no, there it is. 31 kilometers an hour. Now, this is normally where we would test our lane support systems and how well this car sticks to the road. We actually did all of that in our other Corolla Cross review anyway. This doesn't actually have the system that will self-center. It only will stop you from leaving the lane. But in essence, the system in the other Corolla actually worked incredibly well. Worked on our third most lane too, which makes it one of the best systems on the market. So what's it like in terms of road noise? So you do get a little bit of engine noise there coming into the cabin when you are going for it. But outside of that, it's actually pretty subdued. I thought it was going to be a whole lot louder in here, but those chubby tyres really do take away a whole lot of the noise that does filter into the cabin. So for the most part, this actually sounds pretty good, even on coarse chip country roads. Let's talk visibility. So down the front there, I can clearly see the fronts of the car, big wing mirrors as well with the blind spot monitor built in. Visibility out the back isn't very good. It's quite a narrow envelope there. Finally, turning circle just over 11 meters, and it's a pretty good number because it is nice and tight for parking in and around the city, and it makes maneuvering pretty straightforward. So the Corolla Cross, look, I was super impressed with the last one that we drove, which was the top spec all-wheel drive hybrid. This one, probably not as much, and I think it's just because the base model just genuinely feels like it's built for the rental market with the fabric seats, the plastic steering wheel, even the color doesn't help in here in white. So yeah, if you are shopping in this segment, I would at least have a look at the next level up. It gives you a few of those extra creature comforts and makes it not look as sort of entry level as this does. It is worth spending just that little bit extra. So let me know in the comments section below, have you bought one of these? Have you rented one of these? Let me know what you ended up going with and whether you went for the hybrid or just the petrol. I think outside of it being the base model, the petrol engine is actually not too bad and it handles nicely enough for what it is. It's just feels a little bit barren in comparison to some of the better stuff in the range. So let me know in the comments section down there what you think of it. If you did enjoy this video, please make sure you like it and you share it with your mates. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon. But until next time, take it easy.